Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United Transfer News Daily, where we talk about all the latest Man United transfer news and give it that real fan opinion. And we've got some good news to start off with, something I'm pretty pleased about, in fact. Can I get it up? That's the most important thing. Yes, I can. So the Hotometer, which made its debut, I think, last Tuesday, is based on the players that I think at the moment are the most likely that United will sign, and I'm marking them out of 10. Now, when I did it on Tuesday, I said at the moment, I think the most likely player United are going to sign is Bruno Fernandez. I only gave it 6 out of 10, so a 60% chance. But over the week, people have been saying, Man City are going to sign him, Man City are going to sign him. And I said, look, there are people saying looking like he's going to Man City, but when you read the Portuguese reports, they're not so firm that he's going to Man City. There's still a lot of mention of Manchester United. Well, interestingly, Simon Stone from the BBC has come out and said, and also the Manchester Evening News have come out and said, their Manchester City correspondent, that Man City have no interest in Bruno Fernandez. So, look, I know Fabrizio Romano said that they are, but ultimately I've always found Simon Stone from the BBC very, very reliable when it comes to Manchester United news. I know he's quoting Man City, but I think there's something in that. And I, as I said before, would prefer Bruno Fernandez over Joao Felix, because Bruno Fernandez, he's got a lot of goals, got a lot of assists. He is an attacking midfielder, but he can play as a more box-to-box midfielder as well. Whereas Joao Felix is more of a inverted winger, support striker, a little bit more lightweight than Bruno Fernandez. So I'm quite encouraged by this. It doesn't mean we're going to sign him, but he does fit into the right sort of player that United would want. £70 million would probably do it, and we're still in the race with that. So very happy, and I tell you what, I'm not changing the Hotometer. Bruno Fernandez can stay. I'm going to keep him at a 6. Manolas, Meunier, Alderweireld, Bale, Bergwijn, Sancho. At the moment, they can all stay. In relation to Alderweireld, keep your eye on that one. He is still relatively going to be cheap in August for 25 million, although why you'd leave a Champions League club to go to a Europa League club, money would concern me. And Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale's interesting. Marca yesterday reporting that Manchester United are seen as the only viable option for Gareth Bale. And that worries me as well. So we're the only mug, basically, that will take him. So I don't want Gareth Bale. I've said it many a times, and I hope that's not going to happen. But there's your Hotometer. Smash a like for that. But let's bring it back to today's show. Let's talk about Ligt then. Edwin van der Sar is Ajax sporting director of football, whatever you want to call it. And he said that, look, we won't stand in the way of De Ligt if he wants to leave this summer. They expect a lot of players to leave Holland this summer, and Ajax, which we'll come back to in a moment. But he said that he sees his future, De Ligt's future will either be in England or Spain. This has got Liverpool fans excited, Man City fans excited, Barcelona fans excited. Is there any chance of him coming to Manchester United? Well, look, I joked last night when he scored, or the night before, that he scored. What night was it? Was it Tuesday? Wednesday night, wasn't it? 2 nights ago. I joked that he was, when he rose to head home that first goal against Spurs, he was clearly thinking about Thursday nights in the Emmerdale Cup at Old Trafford. But I don't see De Ligt coming to Manchester United, but I would be ecstatic if he did. And he's a weird one. Not in a talent-wise, he's dominant, he's a leader, he's absolutely perfect for United. I would hate to find out, and we won't find out, that he wanted to come to United but was only going to come if we got Champions League football, and he won't come now because we're in the Europa League. That would hurt. If that was the only reason he wouldn't come to us, that would hurt. If he wants to go to Man City because they're a good footballing team, or Barcelona because they're a good footballing team, that's fine. I wonder about Barcelona, though, because they do have, although after what happened at Anfield, they'll probably be after a centre-back, but they do have a lot of centre-backs. Umtiti, PK, Longley. Would they be looking for another centre-back? Probably, after what happened against Liverpool, although I think that was more about them going forward than at the back, really. So I've always felt that De Ligt would go to Barcelona. I think he'll go for about £65 million. But if Manchester United could get him, what a signing he would be. He would be absolutely perfect for what we're looking at. And also, I think with De Ligt, it would almost be worth throwing a bit of money at him. And I know that's a bit contradictory to what I said yesterday about we don't want players coming here just for money. But De Ligt's very different. He's from Ajax, and traditionally these Dutch players have a very, very strong mentality and a strong work ethic, and they're professional minded. He's not dabbing, he ain't doing dancing videos. He's a professional footballer. He's been a leader for Ajax at such a young age, 19. And I think if the scenario was this, look, Man City want to give him 120 grand a week, he wants to sign there, but if United give him 150, he'll come to United. I think in that scenario, I would probably do it, but only because it's a very specific... Look, life is specific, and De Ligt is specific. If you're buying Alderweireld at 31 and he wants 200 grand a week, it's very different to De Ligt saying, I'll come to you if you give me 150 grand a week, because De Ligt is going to be one of the world's best centre-backs. He's only 19 and he's a leader. And I think it would be worth maybe trying the money angle with him rather than doing it with these older players that we do. But do I think we can get De Ligt? If he's anywhere near ambitious, probably not. I've said this many a time. You've got to sell him a dream that you don't know whether it's going to happen. You don't know whether you're going to fall asleep to get the dream. So United at the moment, we're a mess. And any young footballer, and I've got to be fair to De Ligt here, he has the potential to be the world's best centre-back in the next 3 or 4 years. If he comes to Manchester United, that might not happen. He might get, drowned by the toxicity and the crapness like anybody else could. So it's a big risk for De Ligt to come to Manchester United. I don't think he will come. But Van der Sar do us a favour, maybe. Do us a favour. But it's interesting as well with the Dutch league, because you've got De Ligt, you've got Van der Beek, you've got Ziyech at Ajax, to name a few. You've then got Bergwijn and you've got Lozano at PSV. I mean, there's 5 players there that effectively I would be happy if we signed 2 or 3 of those, or even one. Will we be in for any of those players? Because of course anybody can flop. But I want to ask you that as well. I mean, out of these Dutch players, whether it's Ajax or the 2 lads at PSV, why would United not be in for them? Which ones would you like us to go for? I mean, De Ligt, to me, would be the icing on the cake. If you could get that deal done, I'd be very, very impressed, because it ticks every single box. It's a young player, it's a hungry player, it's a talented player. Be brilliant. But there are others as well, and Bergwijn and Lozano, very interesting players as well. I wouldn't mind either of those coming to the club, wingers. And then obviously Ziyech and Van der Beek as well, very interesting. And you would just wonder whether United will, and again they do actually, all of them fit into what United should be looking for. Players who want to go to that next stage of their career. And I know Ajax are Champions League semi-finalists, and on paper their season is way better than United's, but Ajax are going to be nowhere next year. They're going to lose most of that team, because unfortunately that's what happens to Ajax these days. They build a team and it gets dismantled by not necessarily better clubs, but richer clubs. That's what will happen. So should United be on that? Will United be on that? We'll have to wait and see. I mentioned, who did I mention yesterday? Lorenzo Pellegrini at Roma. There's been a bit of a development with Barella at Cagliari. I mentioned him yesterday because I think, again, as a midfielder, I wouldn't be opposed to him coming into United. 22 years of age. I think Cagliari will take about £35 million for him. He is an Italian international. He is well respected as a potential future, one of the best midfielders in Europe, sort of things. And I think he'd be good for United. Interestingly, the story mentions United, but it's more about, I think it was Corriere dello Sport, Inter Milan. And this, I think he'll move to an Italian club. I think we've seen this before with Bernardeschi. I think Fiorentina, Bernardeschi, the winger who's now at Juventus, we were linked to him. He ends up going to a bigger Italian club, and that tends to happen quite a lot. So Barella would be a good signing for United, but it's looking like Inter. And sticking with Inter for a moment, some very interesting developments around Inter Milan. Antonio Conte potentially becoming the manager of Inter Milan, which then leads into Lukaku. Now, yesterday there was a story that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't see Lukaku as a player that he immediately wants to get rid of. He wants to sit down with him and talk about his future and understand where Lukaku sees his future. Now, it's paper talk. It might not be true, but I don't like that. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to sit down with Lukaku because he doesn't want to sell him and he wants to see what Lukaku thinks. It's like, we're going to sit down and see what Lukaku wants to do. I tell you what, let's not sit down with Lukaku and see what he wants to do. Let's kick Lukaku out the club because he's got no first touch. He's a waste of space. He doesn't run around very much. He's lazy. Get rid of him. And I base that on what I've seen this season. He has not been fit all season. He's carrying too much muscle. His first touch is crap. He doesn't track back. He looks knackered after 25 minutes. Why are we sitting down with him thinking he's got a future at this club? There are an amazing amount of red flags there. It's time to move him on. So Conte going to Inter could be quite interesting because we know Lukaku's been flirting with Italy. Get that deal done. Inter also linked with Alexis Sanchez as well, though. So they won't get both. I would I'd rather Lukaku went, to be honest. I think we'd get decent money for him. I do, and I think Sanchez will just take. We might have to bite the bullet and sell him by taking a lot of money off the deal for us. But yeah, I would. I'd love to see him leaving Manchester United, Lukaku, and I don't want him to stay. But I do fear that he will stay. I do. I've said it for a while. Talking about goings and stayings, Pogba yesterday, we were talking about Mino Raiola and his suspension for basically the entire summer transfer window, and how can Pogba move if his agent is suspended. He's come out and said what I thought would happen, actually, that he's going to obviously get his lawyers involved. He doesn't understand why he's suspended. And he said it's only for Italy. So that would not stop Mino Raiola moving Ligt, who is one of his clients, from Holland to England or Spain. And it would not stop him moving Pogba from England to Spain either. So it could be a bit of a red herring, this Mino Raiola thing. We'll have to keep an eye on it. If he is suspended, I don't see how his clients move. But if he's only suspended for Italy, or if he overturns the suspension, then it shouldn't have a problem. And on Pogba, we heard some more yesterday. The same stuff again. You know, it's now or never for Pogba if he wants to go to Real Madrid. And also the Evening Standard was saying that Paul Pogba wants to leave Manchester United. I think he does, but he wants to leave Manchester United because he's not over from the toxicity of the start of season under Jose Mourinho, the stripping of the vice-captaincy. He feels that the club could have protected him and stood up for him more, and he still wants to leave. I disagree with that. My interpretation is that the club did stick up for Pogba as much as they can do. And I think it certainly got to the point that they decided that they were going to stick with the players over the manager, and that's why Mourinho was sacked, rightly or wrongly. But I don't think the club could have come out when Mourinho was stripping Pogba of the captaincy and said, you can't do that. Player power can't win like that. So if there's any truth in that, I think Pogba, look, we're in a different world now. Mourinho's gone. If you can't turn a page and move past that, then maybe Manchester United isn't for you. But I think he wants to go. And I think it's going to come down to, as I said on the preview, whether United are strong enough to get the best deal for us. Because I don't think Real Madrid can really afford him. And I think he'll want to go. And I think United need to dig their feet in. And if Real Madrid can't afford him, you get Varane as part of the deal. Simples. That's what I would do with that. Anyway, must also say as well, link in the video description for Football Index, the football stock market game where you can buy shares in real players and make yourself a little bit of money. It is, please do gamble responsibly. You do have to be over 18 to play the game. But effectively, it's not like putting a £10 bet on a result and then the £10's gone. You buy shares in players. And as you can see at the moment, the top 200, prices will go up based on performance on the pitch, but more importantly, news story events. So as you can look at the moment, buzz winners, Lucas Moura, because he scored all those goals. But if you look at some of the risers as well, you've got Harry Kane, because he might play in the final. You've got Lucas Moura, as I say, Tahith Chong, because he might play. Lots and lots of players in there that you can buy over the summer that are going to go up. Bruno Fernandez is going up basically because of transfer news. Lacazette has gone up because of transfer news, and that's what will happen. And if you look at my portfolio, I've got a lot of players that I think are going to move this summer. Bruno Fernandez, De Bruyne I've kept. Ronaldo I need to move on, really. Mason Greenwood, his price is going to keep going up, as you can see. Bought him at 148 a share. He's up at 337 a share. He will go up this weekend because he will play this weekend. So Mason Greenwood's a good one to get on, especially in the future markets anyway. Tahith Chong, he's on the rise as well. Koulibaly's going to move. I've got Bergwijn, I've got Gomez, Icardi and Dembele. So the link's in the video description for there. What I would do is I'd go in with a minimum of 20 quid, and then if you're going to buy some shares in players, you can get 4 or 5 shares for that. Some of them, if you want to get shares, you could get nearly 20 shares in Aubameyang. So links in the video description for Football Index. Like I say, remember you're over 18 and please do play responsibly. Thanks everyone for watching. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Preview was up from last night if you didn't see it. And I shall see you all later. Smash a like. Get your comments in below. What do you think about the Dutch contingency? Would you be interested in those? Is De Ligt worth chucking a bit of extra money at? Bruno Fernandez, how confident are you now in this news story that City aren't in for him? Barella, under my Barella. Pogba, do you think Pogba's going to go? Lukaku, should we be looking to keep Lukaku? Would you move him on? Links in the video description, as is for Football Index. Please do drop a like, have a go on Football Index, and I'll speak to you all later.